Timothy, a 40-year-old sales professional, found himself facing a daunting challenge at work. Nancy, the head of the department, had presented him with a problem that had a mere 2% success rate on a past Harvard entrance exam. Clearly, she doubted his abilities, as she was the type who often looked down on him, assuming he was just a high school graduate. The stakes were high. Nancy had bluntly stated that if he couldn't solve the problem, he would have to leave the company. The festive holiday party atmosphere in the room suddenly turned tense and silent, as even the president, who had taken a chance on hiring Timothy, watched with concern. But Timothy was determined. "Boss, I'm not backing down," he responded firmly, his mind set on proving his worth. Timothy's journey had been an unconventional one. He had once been a researcher at Harvard, but left because he wasn't achieving the results he desired. Rather than pursuing a corporate research position, he found himself at a crossroads, burnt out and unemployed. It was then that his uncle, the president of the small medical equipment company, offered him a lifeline, recognizing Timothy's potential. Now, Timothy was ready to show his true capabilities and redeem himself. This was his chance to shine and silence the doubters, including the condescending Nancy, who had always looked down on him. I had come from a prestigious position at a major corporation, but this fresh start felt like the right move. My new boss saw my diligence and work ethic, and he assured me that everyone here would welcome me. His kind words resonated deeply during a difficult period in my life, prompting me to fully commit to this company. Transitioning from my previous role as a researcher to becoming a salesperson was daunting, however. I struggled to adapt to the social aspects of the job, feeling out of place and finding it hard to converse naturally. My sales calls were stiff and stilted. Yet, to my surprise, my new colleagues demonstrated remarkable patience and warmth, a stark contrast to the tension I had experienced in my previous laboratory setting. The supportive team even gave me the playful nickname Weeping Timothy, a testament to the care they extended. But soon, new challenges arose, particularly with Nancy, the ambitious and demanding head of our department. At only 33 years old, she had graduated from a prestigious women's college and carried herself with an authoritative presence. Adding to her formidable reputation, Nancy was the daughter of a senior executive who had connections to the company president. A coworker named Charles, who joined around the same time as me, had a disagreement with Nancy. Nancy responded harshly. She banned Charles from visiting clients and assigned him to menial tasks, which was detrimental to his future prospects. I felt compelled to confront Nancy, hoping that by speaking honestly, she would understand. Regrettably, my attempt was futile. "Who you think you are?" Nancy snapped. "I heard you're just a high school graduate who got this job through connections. Someone like you shouldn't be giving me opinions." I had purposefully kept my Harvard background a secret, wanting to be judged based on my work, not my education. I had pretended to be a high school graduate, but I've learned that real-world experience holds more value than academic credentials in the sales field. Clients are more concerned with results than education. My colleagues are skilled and witty, which is something I strive for. Now, being criticized for my academic background feels unjust, especially when even students are encouraged to express their views. Nancy's expression tightened, resembling a professor being corrected by a student. Moments later, she forced a creepy smile and said, "Timothy, you're quite articulate." When I joined the company, I lacked a formal degree, but Nancy saw potential in me. "You don't have the credentials, but you have other talents," she said firmly. "From now on, you'll take on chores around the office. This isn't a request, it's an order." I was relieved to see Charles's career back on track, so I readily agreed. My new role had me fetching coffee, polishing shoes, and running personal errands for Nancy. Charles felt bad, but I assured him, "Forget about me and focus on your own work. We only live once." It was ironic, coming from someone who had once abandoned a first career for a second chance. As the year drew to a close, the annual company party arrived. These events always brought back fond memories from my student days, a stark contrast to the research-driven culture of my previous lab. The main office, including the president, turned out in force, making it a lively gathering. It was fun to chat with so many people. Charles, slightly inebriated, remarked admiringly, "Timothy, you're remarkably clever. You've memorized all the product details and can instantly answer client queries. It's as if you're a living computer." I wondered why our knowledge levels differed so vastly, even though we both started at the same time. While math has always been my strong suit, I struggle with writing, history, and singing. I tried to brush it off casually, but Nancy interjected. "Timothy, are you proficient in mathematics? I'll present you with a problem to solve. If you can't crack it, you'll have to leave the company." A hush fell over the group as they exchanged concerned glances. I viewed Nancy's offer as a chance. "I'm game," I replied. "But if it's a wager, you'll lead a penalty too." Nancy responded confidently, "If you solve it, I'll do whatever you ask." Her self-assurance reignited a spark of my former ambition, the drive to achieve greatness and earn accolades. Nancy wrote an equation on the whiteboard, taken from a past Harvard entrance exam for the sciences, designed to stump applicants. Handing me the black marker, she said with a smug grin, "Good luck." I never anticipated she'd pull out a question from a former Harvard entrance exam. I stood before the whiteboard, feeling the weight of the situation. I noticed the president's concerned expression, but I knew I couldn't rely on him. This was my challenge to overcome. Timothy will quit if he can't solve this problem. "Everyone, let's encourage him," Nancy announced, prompting a stir among the group. The president began to speak, but I cut him off. "Boss, I'm not backing down today." In just 3 seconds, I found the answer, having solved a similar problem on a Harvard entrance exam long ago. "You've been through a lot," the president said after I presented my solution, referring not only to my decision to leave my research career, but also to a specific past event. When I started graduate school, I finally dedicated myself to research. It was then that I met Maria Anderson, a piano student at NYU's renowned arts division. If Harvard is the pinnacle of academia, then NYU's arts program is the peak of the arts world. I first encountered Maria at a piano bar, where a friend had taken me. Despite my limited musical knowledge, I was captivated by her performance, realizing that there are people with truly exceptional talents. Whenever I take the stage, your face in the crowd catches my eye. The way you listen, so captivated by the music, tells me you find joy in my performances. I'd appreciate your constant support and the passion you bring to every show. Your presence means more to me than you know." Her gratitude surprised me. I'd thought that people with great artistic talent would be more arrogant. I thought it was okay to be a bit selfish if you had the power to captivate the public. But Maria's performances were worth that much. "I should be the one thanking you. Lately, I've been feeling incredibly fulfilled because of you." She laughed and said, "That's an exaggeration." That was the start of a deeper connection between Maria and me. Maria had been playing piano since she was 2 years old. At that age, I wasn't thinking about research at all. I've come to realize that artists are born, not made. Despite our different backgrounds, upbringings, and talents, we shared a deep love and trust. I used to think that someone smart enough to get into Harvard wouldn't appreciate music. But that's not true. I admire artistic talent because it's something I lack. Plus, while I'm researching things that don't yet exist, Maria's music makes me feel like I can achieve the impossible. Maria gave a sad smile and said, "Thank you. The only people who ever say that are you and my grandma." "Your grandma?" I asked, surprised. "Yes, she always praised my piano playing. My mom is strict and never gave me praise. But thanks to my grandma, I kept playing. She passed away last year." "I'm sorry to hear that," I said. But now I have someone else who praises my piano playing so I can keep going. At this time, Maria was considering quitting the piano. Even though she was at university surrounded by exceptional talents, she had lost her confidence. Her piano playing became even more magnificent, filled with a strength and healing quality that energized me just by listening. I thought no one else in the world could play like Maria. She won the university's piano competition and aimed for international contests. Her success thrilled me. It was the first time I felt so happy for someone else's achievement as if it were my own. Meeting her brought color to my previously dull, research-focused life. Maria left her piano bar job and dedicated all her time to practice. Meanwhile, I finished my master's program and was deciding whether to pursue a FD. This led to a conflict with my parents. They wanted me to consider my future and join a major corporation. I was nearing 30, and they were right. Most people would get a job after finishing their masters. I understood that developing industrial products at a big company would be more lucrative than uncertain research. If I failed to produce results, I'd end up with nothing. Research, like artistry, can be unforgiving. But I didn't want to give up my dream of winning a prestigious award with my research. Maybe it was Maria's inspiration, but I decided to pursue a FD. Of course, you can stop the financial support. I'll manage on my own from now on. Thank you for supporting me until now, I told my parents. They didn't say anything, but I could feel their profound disappointment. Fortunately, my younger brother, who aims to be a doctor, graduated with honors from a prestigious medical school this year. He'll surely make our parents proud. Just think of it as if you only had one son, I said. It might have been the worst thing for a parent to hear, but I was committed to this path with no turning back. I finally understood why untalented street musicians keep performing despite the mockery. I vowed not to lose Maria. Even though we couldn't see each other as often, knowing we were both pursuing our dreams made me feel less lonely. Our bond grew stronger with every phone call, and I believed we were a perfect couple united by our dreams. One day, I met Maria after a long time. She had lost a lot of weight. She'd always been slender, but being a pianist required physical strength. She used to have a certain robustness despite her slimness, but now she looked unwell. Sadly, my intuition was correct. She collapsed during practice and was taken to the hospital. Maria was diagnosed with acute leukemia, a devastating blood cancer. This disease destroys young cells rapidly, and she quickly lost her vitality and became bedridden. Despite this, I never doubted she'd recover. Decades ago, the survival rate for this disease was less than 20%, but with modern medicine, it should be lower now. Maria began her battle with the disease, and I prayed every day for her swift recovery. But a year later, Maria passed away at the young age of 25. Even without her, I couldn't stop my research. The beloved light was gone, but I pressed on. Days passed, and I continued my work desperately. I couldn't stop, even though the guiding light had faded. Days slipped by with no results, just time wasted. One day, I felt everything was in vain. You have no luck. Give it up already, my professor said, patting me on the shoulder. His words cut deep. To think that my efforts might have been thwarted by luck felt incredibly cruel. It seemed so easy to shatter everything I'd worked for. None of my peers cared about my departure. My mind snapped back to the year-end party venue. Charles ran up to me, eyes wide with excitement. This is incredible. I don't fully understand what's written here, but I know it's amazing. Who are you? He asked, his enthusiasm reminding me of Maria. I wanted to hug him, but restrained myself, not wanting to create any awkward situations. Hold on, it's too soon to celebrate. We need to confirm if the answer is correct, I said. A voice from the back chimed in. I think it's correct. I encountered that problem while studying for the entrance exam. I gave up on it because it seemed unsolvable. Applause erupted around me. It felt strange to be praised so much for solving an entrance exam problem. Quiet, we haven't confirmed the answer yet, I said. I looked at her and added, I'm confident it's correct. I've solved this problem before. I never forget the problems I've solved, especially during an entrance exam. Nancy looked surprised. What do you mean you solved it during an entrance exam? Finally, the president, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Timothy graduated top of his class from Harvard. Top of the class. What does that mean? Nancy asked. It means he's the best student at Harvard, Charles explained calmly. Nancy was speechless, but Charles continued, That's not true. Each department at Harvard has different subjects, so there's no single top student. But many people have said that to me. It motivated me to pursue research, and here we are. I smiled sheepishly, trying not to seem too full of myself. Don't be so modest. You're incredible. I thought you were amazing from the start, Timothy. I love you, man, Charles exclaimed, hugging me in excitement. I felt conflicted but agreed to continue working there. I don't mind taking on any task, but I hope Nancy will trust her team more. You said you'd do anything, so that's my only request. Charles, still hugging me, chimed in, Come on, that's too easy. She needs to take responsibility for her words. I think a funny joke wouldn't hurt. Nancy asked seriously, If I do that, will you all acknowledge me? As the new department head, she struggled with being accepted and didn't know how to connect with her team, making her come off as intimidating. If Nancy tells a funny joke, then Charles and I will join in too, I stated. Charles let me go and said, I don't want to be a part of this. But you were the one who suggested a funny joke, so you need to own up to it, I responded. Nancy chugged a full bottle of beer in one go. Okay, let's do it. We'll decide the order by playing rock, paper, scissors. Her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes were glazed over from the alcohol. I seriously told Charles, This is a situation where you should take responsibility as a man. The party turned into an uproarious competition, but the following day, everyone was so hungover that they couldn't recall a thing. As the new year began and work resumed, we learned about Nancy's demotion. She was removed from her position as the sales department head and transferred to the general affairs department as a regular employee. One of the senior staff members was promoted to take her place, and we started working under the new structure. I couldn't hide my surprise and went to the president to inquire about what had happened. It seems Nancy herself requested the transfer. Nancy has her own reasons. Let me be clear, this is not due to anything you all did. The president cautioned against pitying the individual, explaining that she possessed a significant degree of self-respect. Regrettably, this hindered the development of a trustworthy relationship. With her departure, the momentum seemed to dissipate, leaving a sense of anticlimax. Charles expressed disappointment, recalling the shared laughter and jokes they had exchanged. His demeanor diverged from Maria's, prompting speculation about her potential reactions, whether she would have found amusement or simply smirked at the humor. Nonetheless, Maria would have taken solace in witnessing my progress. Months later, the laboratory where I previously worked achieved a Nobel Prize-winning breakthrough, uplifting the spirits of a dejected nation. In the past, such news might have elicited frustration, but now I felt indifferent. My passion had not entirely faded. I simply believed that my contributions had not been in vain. It is akin to music, where each measure connects to the next, as researchers continue to play their short melodies, leading to groundbreaking discoveries. The haunting tune will forever linger in my heart, a constant companion as I eagerly await the day when we are reunited once more.